Do you hold for a final shot?
No,
in this case?
no.
Why not?
When you're down, you want to try to score quickly to tie up the game or take the lead. The first thing you got to do is get the ball in bounds, all right? So the person who's taking the ball out of bounds, as a coach, you got to trust him the most. The other four guys, you obviously have a set play right here that you're trying to use. You're going to have to screen and cut just to get open. I think Princeton's going to get Darius Baisley the basketball at either elbow and then isolate him, let him go to work. Because if he can get close to the basket, he can pull up and shoot over any defender from New Albany. And if you're New Albany, you want Baisley to catch that ball a little further away from the basket. If you're Baisley, don't settle for the quick jump shot. Try to get closer to the basket. And then you can score or give it up.
No surprise, Langford guarding Baisley. Had a foul on Julian Hunter as Pierce drove the baseline.
But that's okay, that's only 16 fouls. Now the next foul by New Albany will put Princeton to the free throw line. So they had a foul to give. Great coaching by Jim Shannon.
Baisley to inbound for Princeton. Baisley off his hand, East trying to save it. Still Princeton ball. 12 seconds.
Here's where your end-of-game situations. That's why you practice them.
Baisley against Langford. Two top 10 talents. Baisley the finger roll for the tie.
Well, that's his go-to move, Baisley. Cut him off, he'll spin.
Langford just inside half court. And overtime is next here in Indiana.
I got my wish. I told you that at halftime. We need overtime in this game. We got it.
With a game like this, why not? And for the Princeton fans and their band who showed up late at halftime, they'll take 4 more minutes. One more look at the last sequence.
Baisley goes to his left, spins back to his right. Loves to do that in the half-court set. He puts you on his skinny and narrow hips, but he knows how to spin. And then Romeo Langford for the game winner. Little left.
That's almost in his range for Langford.
He's always in his range.
So we're tied at 52, and overtime is necessary for two of the best public schools from Indiana and Ohio, separated by about 140 miles. An out-of-conference classic for these two teams, and two of the top 10 players in the senior class, Darius Baisley and Romeo Langford. So what are you paying attention to here in overtime, Paul?
Well, first of all, the foul situation is so important in this game. So you got to know who has fouls, because you don't want people fouling out of the game. Our stat man is handling the fouls right now. Baisley has 4, Langford with 0. That's a big difference in this game.
I decided to go jacket on. You've decided to take the jacket off.
Yeah, I'm getting hot in here. These bleachers are killing my back.
I don't
But I love
you.
it. This atmosphere is second to none. The stars are stepping up. Supporting cast has been great. Let's go double OT.
Why not? Coming in, #1 versus #1. Top players on both teams, Baisley and Langford. And they have put together some stellar performances. Langford with 28 points despite the injuries to his wrist, his leg, then knocked in the nose. Baisley right behind him with 24. And they meet at center court for the jump ball. Baisley, with the height advantage, wins it for Princeton.
Baisley has to be very careful in this overtime. I just mentioned he has 4 fouls. He's got to keep himself in the game.
Baisley on the perimeter.
I like the set.
Baisley blocked by Langford. And it's a tie-up. New Albany ball with the arrow. What a defensive play by Romeo Langford.
I love the set by Stevie Wright. Gets Baisley the ball, and the defense was outstanding by Langford. Stayed in his stance, timed the block, and then the toughness to go after it.
Langford cut off by Baisley, and Baisley is done. His 5th personal. Massive loss for Princeton here in overtime. And the fans are waving goodbye here in New Albany.
But Darius Baisley was outstanding tonight in so many different facets. He scores the game-tying basket. Tremendous at blocking shots and changing shots. Showed why he's going to be an exceptional player for Jim Boeheim at Syracuse. But with 4 fouls in overtime, you got to let that guy either go to the baseline, just get out of his way. If he scores, you still stay in the game. But by bumping him, you take yourself out of the game. And that hurts your team tremendously. Let's see if Hunter can step up. 24 in the red. He's had a good game for Princeton.
If you're here waiting for Buffalo and Western Michigan in the MAC, that game is starting on ESPN News. Here in New Albany, Indiana, a high school matchup to remember. On the banks of the Ohio River. Hunter, a deep three for Princeton. Horrigan rips down the board.
I don't like that shot selection for Hunter. So much better inside the arc.
East, the cut. And the floater drops in for the veteran point guard. New Albany by 4. Hunter had his shot blocked, but a foul. That'll be on Stevenson.
Well, Baisley right now has to be a great teammate for Princeton. I mean, what a night. The double-double, 24 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists. But one in the red can do nothing right now except for cheer for his teammates. And that's what he's doing on the bench.
And Darwishi Hunter, who's at the line, has to step forward and be the alpha dog now. Already 19 points, but he is the lead man for the Vikings going forward.
Yeah, I think Hunter has some alpha dog mentality. Looks competitive, plays hard. He's not satisfied with just showing up. He wants his team to win. The seniors have a chance to step up right now. Let's see what Hunter can do.
Langford hacked, pinballed around. Another foul, and Langford will have more free throws. Now Baisley reduced to cheerleader in overtime.
Yeah, Langford, he finds that gap. He gets there with a low shoulder, and once he gets even with his defender, he knows how to put his body into him, create the foul.
There's something about 2 public school stars going head-to-head in this game, even though Baisley has fouled out. Langford, Baisley, and Trey Jones from Apple Valley in Minnesota, the only top 10 players in the ESPN 100 from public schools. And Langford has said it. He never considered going to a prep school. Says if you're good enough, people will find you. We have found them here tonight.
And believe me, he had the chance to go anywhere in the country for high school.
Hunter missed the 3, rebound for New Albany, and a foul with 2:15 to go.
That's a bad foul. You're not going to get the rebound. Once the ball changes hands, you either get back on defense, and if you have to foul because it's the end of the game, that's different. Sometimes you have to foul on the miss, but no need to foul in that possession.
Julian Hunter is wearing a new jersey as Princeton looks on from the bench, including Darius Baisley. Hunter at the line for New Albany. Started the game wearing number 30, now wearing 35. Princeton down 4, just over 2 minutes. Kennedy will have 2 free throws after the foul on East.
You're on the road, your best player's on the bench. You want to drive it to the basket, make the official make a call, and if the defense converges, then you kick it out. You want to take open shots or hard drives to the basket. You got to be very disciplined in your offensive flow right now because you can lose your mind. You're on the road. Everybody's screaming against you and take some wild shots. Princeton is right in this game.
They're within 2 with just over 2 minutes to go, and Baisley is still engaged from the bench.
And they may have to double team Langford now with Baisley on the bench. No shot blocker. And they're double teaming him on the inbounds. I love that by Stevie Wright. Put 2 guys on Langford, let somebody else catch it on the inbounds.
Ward knocked it out. New Albany will try it again.
And Jim Shannon, 20 years, an outstanding high school head coach. He's made Romeo Langford a screener before. That's a good way to get him open. Let him screen, and then he'll get open. Comes that double.
Sean East in the corner for New Albany. Guarded by Ward, the sophomore, with length. East bumped. New Albany fans wanted a foul the first time around. They got it the second time that Ward initiated contact. That's his 4th.
I'll tell you what East does. 5 and a white. He baits you. He makes you come out on him. And then when he goes by you, he puts his body into you. He changes his speed, changes direction. Next thing you know, you're bumping him 28, 30 feet from the basket.
Is East a Division I guy? He's getting interest at the moment. Ball State, Greensboro, IUPUI, among others.
Well, I think he's a scholarship player, and that can fall into the Division I or II category. He's got Division I speed and quickness, Division I handle. I like his float game. I'd like to see him be a better three-point shooter. I haven't seen enough from behind the arc. Competitive young man, 5 and a white.
New Albany has made 6 of their 8 free throws here in overtime. And Romeo Langford and the Bulldogs are up 4 with 1:36 to play. We've got a timeout. Again, if you're here for Buffalo and Western Michigan, that game starting on ESPN News. We'll get there at the end of our game. Of course, the Geico ESPN High School Basketball Showcase continues 2 weeks from tonight in the Big Apple. Archbishop Malloy at Christ the King. And Paul, we're going to be joined by one of the greats to come out of Christ the King, Sue Bird, the 4-time Olympic gold medalist.
She was a tremendous high school, college player, and as you mentioned, Olympic medalist. Christ the King has a point guard that I just can't wait to see again by the name of Cole Anthony. We talk about top underclassmen in the country. He is electric at the point guard position for Archbishop Malloy.
Top 10 in his class. Top 10 matchup here tonight with Romeo Langford and Darius Baisley. Baisley fouling out here early in overtime for Princeton, which just turned it over.
Well, the right idea by Steve Wright, set up the back cut.
Hunter, the steal, the layup, plus the foul.
Well, we said it earlier, Ted, when Darius Baisley fouled out. Who's going to take over for Princeton? It's been the senior. Hunter, look at the defense.
And Sean East has fouled out. New Albany losing a key cog here in overtime. Their 3-year starter at point guard.
Darwishi Hunter, you asked me if he's a Division I player? I'm saying yes. I'm stamping him. Somebody in the Summit Conference, possibly the MAC or the Horizon League, should take a good look at Hunter, 24 in the red.
But he missed the free throw. Could have made it a 1-point game. Langford to the rack. Back to a 4-point lead. Langford has 33.
He just glides once he takes off.
Hunter from the outside. That's a triple. Now it is a 1-point game with under 1 minute. A timeout for New Albany.
That was from Romeo Langford range. Romeo Langford trying to win this game for the home team. Look at the way he changes that speed. A little hesitation go. and he glides right to the basket. Darwishi Hunter really with nowhere to go. Looks like he just threw it up there in a game of horse. First three of the night, great timing.
Yeah, Hunter hasn't shown the ability to knock down the three, not just in his career, but especially tonight. But now he's Princeton's leading scorer with 25. He's starting to take over. And again, Darius Baisley, the Syracuse signee, the number 9 player in the senior class, fouling out very early here in overtime. New Albany by a point. Langford hounded. Again, New Albany without their point guard, Sean East, who fouled out moments ago. Langford swallowed up by the defense, but he draws the foul.
Langford knows how to draw contact. That's a quick first step. But the reason he's so quick, beside the fact that he's very athletic, is he gets his shoulder nice and low. And the low man wins in the game. So once he puts that shoulder down, that step goes, he has great explosion.
Langford missing the first as Baisley cheers on from the bench.
And I'll tell you what, once he beats his man with that explosive, quick first step, then he has body control once he gets into the lane. That's why he's top 5 player in the class. Deep three-point range, great pull-up jump shot. Offensively, he can do it all.
2-point lead. Under 30 seconds for Princeton. Hunter, the step back. Horrigan with the rebound. Langford dribbling through traffic, and the foul comes with 16 seconds.
Yeah, Langford's gotten stronger over the years. A year ago this time, he might have got bumped off that ball, and it would have been a turnover. He wants the ball in his hands at the end of the game. I like the defense he played on Hunter. Hunter couldn't go by him. Langford with the rebound, holds on to it, and see if he can cash in.
Langford now with 35 points. 7 points here in OT. And making winning plays at both ends of the floor. He's 86-9 in his 4-year high school career. And Langford makes it a 2-possession game. Timeout, New Albany, 15.9 left. And Romeo Langford continues to show that assassin's demeanor. He's not a show-off. He's not flamboyant. His expression rarely changes. Stone cold at the line here in crunch time.
Very simple person off the court. Doesn't have many hobbies. Likes to play video games, a little 2K. Very good student. Loves math in the classroom, and he just wants to hoop. He wants the ball. He's made himself into a top 5 player in the class, and tonight he's had to fight through a little bit of adversity. He sprained his left wrist. Nice pull-up jump shot. Got hit in the nose. Twisted his knee. Hasn't affected his jump shot very much. He was a volume guy early in his career, put up a lot of shots to get a lot of points. He's become effective and efficient as a senior.
Now, Romeo Langford, despite the injuries, continues to show maximum effort. Final seconds, Princeton. Last gasp, down by 4, under 10 seconds. Pierce, a 3! Down 1, time continues to tick away. And this one is over. Into the hands of Langford. New Albany survives in overtime. 65-64 in front of a packed house here in New Albany. What a performance by Langford.
Langford was outstanding. You can see why he's a McDonald's All-American.
Darius Baisley, a double-double in a losing effort. So long from New Albany, Indiana. Off to Jim Barber and Tim Welsh in Kalamazoo for Buffalo in Western Michigan.